May I have your Lordship's permission to commence the proceedings of the court?
Yes, sir. My Lord, Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Honorable Judges of the Supreme Court, my colleague learned Additional Solicitor Generals, President and Office Bearers of Supreme Court Bar Association, President and Office Bearers of Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, learned Senior Advocates, members of the Bar, family members of late Shri Bhandare and Shri Shukla, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered here today on this occasion to honor the lives and cherish the memories and contributions of two remarkable figures in the legal profession, late Shri Murlidhar Chandrakant Bhandare and late Shri Vimlesh Kumar Shukla, senior advocates. It is with profound respect and deep sadness that we mark their passing away and remember them with sincere hope that their legacies shall continue to remain with us. While these legal czars need no introduction, I would be remiss if I did not allude to their remarkable contributions and inspiring careers on this occasion. Late Shri M.C. Bhandare was born on December 10, 1928 and left for heavenly abode on 15th June 24 at the age of 95. It is with profound respect that we mark his passing away and celebrate the legacy he left behind. Shri Bhandare was born in a middle-class Saraswat family in Bombay, now Mumbai. The family had migrated to Mumbai from Goa when both the regions were under the Portuguese territories. He had a prolific legal career at the Bombay Bar and thereafter he shifted his practice to this court in late 60s. His legal acumen and sagacity were widely respected equally by the bar and the bench. He served as the president of the Supreme Court Bar Association for 2 terms between 1986-87 and 87-88. Unfailingly polite, he mingled with everyone at the bar. He was an approachable friend and a guide to several members of the bar, both senior and junior. His career as a senior advocate at the Supreme Court of India was characterized by numerous landmark cases, thereby enabling him to wield his profound influence on the legal fraternity and the jurisprudence of the country. Shri M.C. Bhandare was respected as a champion and a crusader for the causes of the common man. He believed in the power of law to effect positive change and worked tirelessly to ensure that it serves the interest of justice and common good. His legacy in the legal profession is very ably being carried forward by his daughter Manali Bhandare and a brilliant granddaughter Shreya Singhal. However, to remember Shri Bhandare only based upon the courtroom anecdotes would be doing disservice to his multifaceted personality. He was much more than a lawyer. I must at this juncture make a mention of a distinguished judge, late Justice Suninda Bhandare, a worthy life partner of Shri Bhandare. Shri M.C. Bhandare took a keen interest in holding annual lectures by eminent persons under the aegis of the Suninda Bhandare Foundation, which he instituted in the fond memory of his late wife with the object of fostering gender equality. He truly supported the feminist cause. He would tell junior members of the bar to vote for women candidates in the bar elections. Besides being an advocate par excellence, he was a senior political figure and represented Maharashtra in Rajya Sabha for 3 consecutive terms from 1980 to 1994. His unmatched expertise bagged him several international assignments, including as a chairman of United Nations Subcommission on Prevention of Discrimination and Protection of Minorities. On August 21, 2007, late Shri Bhandare was appointed as the Governor of Odisha, a role he fulfilled with dedication until 2013. Apart from his political and legal career, Shri M.C. Bhandare was also a prolific reader and an author. He was an avid golfer and continued playing golf till he reached 92 years of age. He had to stop the golf only after the COVID set in. In his autobiography, The Arc of Memory, My Life and Times, released in March 24, he offers a deep insight into his life and various facets of his journey through India's legal and political landscapes. Beyond his professional achievements, late Shri Bhandare's life was characterized by his humility, his kindness, and his unwavering commitment to serving the community. Borrowing the words of famous playwright William Shakespeare in his tragedy Julius Caesar to describe late Shri M.C. Bhandare, I quote, "His life was gentle and the elements so well mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was a good man." As we bid farewell to his esteemed and cherished memory of our judicial family, we extend our deepest condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues. May his soul rest in eternal peace and may his legacy continue to illuminate the path of justice for generations to come. Shri Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla. We are also gathered here to pay tribute to late Shri Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla. He was born on 3rd June 1955. His career in law began after he secured BA and LLB degrees from Allahabad University. He enrolled as a lawyer in 1981 with the Bar Council of Uttar Pradesh and soon made a name for himself practicing civil and constitutional law at the High Court of Allahabad. His profound knowledge and dedication led to his elevation as a judge of Allahabad High Court on December 21st, 2002. Upon his elevation to the bench, his contribution took on a new dimension. His judgments were marked by a rare combination of legal rigor and compassionate understanding. He approached each case with a meticulous eye for detail and commitment to ensuring that justice was not only served, but seen to be served. His legal opinions often reflected his belief that the law should be a force for good, addressing not just the letter, but the spirit of justice. He was also appointed as the acting Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court. He retired on June 2, 2017, leaving behind a legacy of judicial prudence and mentorship that shaped many legal careers. After his retirement, he started his practice as a senior advocate before this court and remained active all his life. He left for his heavenly abode on June 29, 2024, at the age of 69 years. Throughout his distinguished career, he has exemplified the highest standards of professionalism and impartiality. His dedication to upholding the law and ensuring fair and just legal process has not only earned him the respect and admiration of his colleagues and of the bar, but has also had a profound impact on the lives of the litigants. Late Sri Shukla was also a mentor to many in the legal profession. He took great pride in guiding young lawyers and judges, sharing his wisdom and experience generously. His commitment to nurturing the next generation of legal professionals was evident in the respect he commanded amongst his peers and the admiration he inspired in his mentees. Beyond his professional achievements, late Sri Justice Shukla was known for his humility and his unwavering dedication to certain values that form the bedrock of our society and community. He remained grounded in his service to the community, always putting the principles of justice above personal gain. His legacy is being carried forward by his worthy daughter and his worthy son-in-law, both of whom are practicing before your lordships. In honoring his memory, let us commit ourselves to upholding the ideals he cherished: fairness, integrity, and a relentless pursuit of justice. May we strive to emulate his dedication and his exemplary conduct in our own roles with legal community. To the family and friends of both the stalwarts of the bar, I, on behalf of the Government of India, on behalf of Attorney General of India, on behalf of my colleague, Additional Solicitors Generals, and on my behalf, extend our deepest condolences.
Honorable the Chief Justice of India, Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud, distinguished judges of the Supreme Court of India, Solicitor General of India, Shri Tushar Mehta, Additional Solicitor Nikhil Jain, office bearers of the Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association, Vice President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Rachna Srivastava, Secretary of the Bar Supreme Court Bar, Vikrant Yadav, members of the Executive Committee of the Bar Association, senior advocates of the Supreme Court present here, advocates on record present here, members of the Bhandare family and the Shukla family and friends. We're gathered here today to pay homage to two stalwarts of the legal profession who have left an indelible mark in their life's journey. Shri late Murlidhar Chandrakant Bhandare and late Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla. Shri Murlidhar Chandrakant Bhandare passed away at 5:45 p.m. on the 15th of June 2024. He was at Salogra on a brief outing. He had lunch and was waiting to go for a drive at 6 p.m. before which he silently, quietly left us. A lawyer's legacy is found in the footprints he leaves behind in the courtroom, and even more significant are the footprints he leaves outside the courtroom. The battles within the court are ephemeral. The battles outside the court are for securing the future of 1.4 billion people. We often talk of the levels of excellence achieved by the departed souls within the courtroom, but forget that there is a story outside the courtroom which is perhaps of even greater significance. Murlidhar Chandrakant Bhandare left an imprint both within the court and outside, with his deep empathy for the poor and the marginalized. He is fondly remembered for having in court battles, many of which were far-reaching and radical, where the less advantaged were pitted against the powerful and where citizens took on the excesses of the state. With his baritone voice, his lucid thought processes, his passion to defend the weak, and his courage within the courtroom, Murlidhar Bhandare spent a lifetime fighting for the voiceless, from fighting for Manjula Rath, a visually impaired woman, to championing the personal liberty of all citizens in the landmark Gurbakh Singh Sibia case, to benefit 50,000 contract workers in the famous Uma Devi case when he appeared for the Karnataka contract workers pro bono. In the hustle and bustle of litigation in courts today, the big battles are often corporate battles, whereas the battles that need attention are those which decide the fate of millions for the causes of liberty, fraternity, social justice, and for the rights of those discriminated, and the upliftment of women who aspire for equality and yet continue to be discriminated in all walks of life. It is the lawyers who represent such causes within and outside the court that leave their footprints behind, for their work is known and cherished by the values that are close to their heart. Murli Bhandare was one such lawyer. He belonged to the old school, where camaraderie outside the court was not affected by confrontation within the courtroom. When the legal fraternity was not divided but united for the causes that matter, where courtesy was the order of the day, and where the bench and the bar realized they are part of a family where the rule of law is paramount. Murlidhar Bhandare was a first-generation lawyer from a middle-class Maharashtrian family. He studied law at Government Law College, Mumbai, where he became lifelong friends with stalwarts in the legal profession. He grew up with the likes of Anil Diwan, his best friend and classmate at Government Law College, Mumbai, was loved by teachers like the Chief Justice Y.V. Chandrachud, Nani Palkewala, and shared great camaraderie with his colleagues Fali Nariman, Soli Sorabji, Ashok Desai. He started his practice in a small causes court and the City Civil Court in Bombay. A large part of his early practice was spent defending factory workers and slum dwellers who did not have the capacity to pay, and he had no heart to have them sell their family jewelry for his fees. Even in these early days, he had many significant victories. In an important early recognition of socio-economic rights, he secured a consequential direction for supply of electricity connections to slum dwellings in Mumbai on an expansive reading of Article 21. With only 2-3 years' experience at the bar, he appeared before a jury to represent the victims of a tragic police shooting upon demonstrators at Flora Fountain, now Martyrs Chowk, Mumbai, during the linguistic movement for a separate state of Maharashtra. His incisive cross-examination of police witnesses convinced the jury that the police firing was unprovoked and disproportionate. Having emerged as a young star practicing on the original side, he decided to shift to the Supreme Court in 1969, along with his wife Sunanda, who went on to become an outstanding judge of the Delhi High Court. In the year 1971, he was designated as a senior advocate by the Delhi High Court. In the Supreme Court, he slowly developed a substantial practice. With his entry into politics, he was entrusted with significant matters, ranging from election law to a wide variety of litigation. He represented many distinguished personalities in India, including Farooq Abdullah, who he appeared for in a famous contempt case in 1984, Here are some of the important cases that he has argued. Anbalagan versus Devarajan, 1984, 2 SCC 112. He argued in favor of Devarajan, who had won an election to the Lok Sabha from a reserved constituency and whose election was challenged in an election petition. The ground for challenge that though Devarajan was a practicing Hindu, he was born a Christian, with his family having converted to Christianity and could thus no longer claim to be a scheduled caste, even if after he had reconverted to Hinduism. Bhandare argued that caste follows an individual even after conversion to another faith because of how deeply ingrained the social evils of exclusion are in Indian society. On the basis of these arguments, Justice Chinnappa Reddy held, quote, and I quote, "The practice of caste, however irrational it may appear to our reason, and however repugnant it may appear to our moral and social sense, is so deep-rooted in the Indian people that its mark does not seem to disappear on conversion to a different religion," and upheld the election. Being a strongly secular person, Mr. Bhandare staunchly argued that garnering of votes on the basis that the candidate would promote one's religion would amount to a corrupt practice under the Representation of Peoples Act, and he succeeded in the famous Bukhari case. Mr. Bhandare has also contributed significantly to the development of criminal jurisprudence in the famous case of R.M. Malkani, where he argued in favor of admissibility of tape-recorded telephonic conversations capturing corrupt practice of Mr. Malkani, who was the coroner of Bombay at the time. When appearing on the side of the individual, Bhandare's contribution to jurisprudence of Article 21 is invaluable. In Gurbaksh Singh Sibia, he successfully argued before a constitution bench that the High Court and the Sessions Court should be permitted to grant orders of anticipatory bail under Section 438 of the Code. With the able guidance of counsel, a thorough exposition of the provision was provided by the constitutional bench of this court. He continued appearing for wages and benefits to persons hired as contract laborers, violated Article 14 and 16. Outside the courtroom, Mr. Bhandare went on to be an important public figure. He was elected to the Rajya Sabha in 1980, 1982, and 1988, and was known for his eloquence in Parliament, especially in matters of the moment. He appeared in several commissions of inquiry, like the Panchat Dham Inquiry Commission and the Khanna Commission in 1968 and the Saju Prasad Commission in 71. He was passionate about defending human rights and in 1993 represented India at the United Nations, where he addressed the General Assembly. He was appointed to the Subcommission for Prevention of Discrimination and Protection of Minorities, as it was then known, serving on it from 1984 to 1989. In 1988, he was appointed as the chairperson of the subcommission. He attended the first session of the United Nations Human Rights Council as a representative of India, and in 1991 was appointed to the UNESCO Appeals Court, serving as its chair until 2003. My late wife, Nina Sibul, was the ambassador to UNESCO at that time, interacted with him during his stint in the subcommission. At a personal level, when I started my practice in Supreme Court, and in particular, when I returned back home after my short stint in Wall Street in 1980, Murli's and Sunanda's home was the comfort zone where we spent many an evening regaled by his stories, interspersed with Sunanda's sense of humor. The couple were frequent visitors to my family home in Chandigarh, where they developed a warm relationship with my father, and all evenings while in Chandigarh were spent at our home. There is a personal side to Murli Bhandare which was exceptionally endearing. There was a childlike energy which he never lost till his last days. What I admired most about him was his passion for the secular fabric of our country and for the cause of equality which he imbibed from his ancestors. The family temple of Shri Thakurji Murlidhar Mandir in Girgaon was the one which Dr. Ambedkar famously entered. It was perhaps the first temple in India which was opened for Dalits. And when asked about the significance of the event, Dr. Ambedkar replied, and I quote, "The issue is not entry, but equality." It is that visit which made a deep impression both on Murli's mind and heart, for he embraced liberalism as an abiding faith and equality as a mantra which he honored through his life. In 1935, Dr. Ambedkar became the principal of the Government Law College, Bombay, where Murli later studied. In his autobiography, The Arc of Memory, My Life and Times, Murli recalls that he would see Dr. Ambedkar sitting on the armchair of the veranda, always with a book. The multifaceted Murli also loved music and art, for he inherited that from his father and his grandfather, Bachubhai Bhandare, a significant harmonium player. Murli learned to play tabla, but gave it up for a more appropriate vocation. He, however, continued his love for music, for he befriended great musicians, including the iconic vocalist Kishori Amonkar, a friend over several years, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Pandit Kumar Gandharv, Shubha Mudgal, Pandit Jasraj, all performed in his home. He was equally passionate about sports and in particular about cricket. The love of his life was Sunanda, his wife, for there was not a day of the year that he did not remember her. I am told that every evening at 6 p.m., he would go for a drive from South Extension, where he lived, to Rashtrapati Bhavan, Parliament House, India Gate, and drive through the High Court Road named after Sunanda. This was the parikrama that he performed, having lost his loved one and a companion. Sunanda became a judge of the High Court, and in the absence of her untimely death would, in the context of her acumen and demeanor, have certainly become a judge of this court. Murli founded the Justice Sunanda Bhandare Foundation in her memory to take forward a commitment towards equality. The foundation organizes an annual lecture that has featured some of August 2017 for 5.5 years. I'm also told, Mullahs, that my Lord the Chief Justice represented him in an election matter in which his residence was challenged because he was living in Delhi, but he had become a member of the Rajya Sabha from Maharashtra. And the case was that because he was living in Delhi, his residence was Delhi and not Maharashtra, and therefore he should be disqualified. And my Lord the Chief Justice represented him. Murli Bhandare became the Governor of Odisha on the 21st of August 2017, after 5.5 years. When violence erupted in Kandhamal district in 2008, he visited and sought to mitigate the suffering of victims by setting up relief camps and took all possible steps to restore peace. I cannot possibly forget that despite his age, during the course of the recent Supreme Court Bar Association election, while I entered the booth to vote, I saw Manali with Murli in the wheelchair. He looked at me and smiled, and I realized that he was a man who never let go, was always stood by his friends, upholding the causes he believed in, and lived his life to the full. He is survived by his son Rahul Bhandare, daughter-in-law journalist Namita Bhandare, his daughter Advocate Manali Singhal, his granddaughters Advocate Shreya Singhal, lawyer and art advisor Teesta Bhandare, and wellness promoter Ananya Bhandare, and his grandson-in-law Jahan Talyani. May his soul rest in peace. The late Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla, who was born on June 3, 1955 in Allahabad, passed away on June 29, 2024. He was elevated to the bench as a permanent judge on December 21, 2002, after an illustrious career at the bar. While lawyers have the liberty and space to move outside the courtroom and have the freedom to interact, travel when they like, spend an evening of leisure, and enjoy the simple things of life, a judge inundated with court work, sincere in his or her cause, finds it difficult to enjoy the freedom that we lawyers cherish. While some of us serve public causes outside the courtroom, judgeship itself comes at an enormous personal sacrifice. While it is a heavy price to pay, it is rewarding and ennobling to serve the cause of justice. Lawyers occasionally have sleepless nights worrying about the fate of their clients the next day, or struggling to reconcile with having lost a good case. Judges, on the other hand, though I have no personal experience of this, must be constantly thinking about where justice lies in the cause before them, and I am sure occasionally lamenting about the judgment they have rendered. The endless flow of work, constant application of mind, and the Herculean task of maintaining patience when confronted with unsavory situations makes the work of a judge exceptionally demanding. And so we extend our deep admiration for those who move from this side to the bench and choose to accept the call of duty, leaving behind the lives they could have otherwise led with their flourishing practices. Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla was one such judge. Son of the late Pandit Mukund Khan Shukla, a renowned lawyer in the District and Sessions Court, Prayagraj, he completed his education at St. Joseph's College and CMP Degree College. In 1977, he graduated in arts from Allahabad University and then acquired his LLB from the same university in 1980. For him, becoming a lawyer was natural. He enrolled in the Uttar Pradesh Bar Council, Allahabad in 1981. What followed was an exceptionally successful practice that embraced constitutional service and civil matters. That he was a people's person is reflected by the fact that he was elected as the Secretary of the Bar Council of the High Court of Judicature at Allahabad in 1998-99. He was elevated as a permanent judge of the Allahabad High Court in December 2002. I am told he may have been the only person who, after serving as secretary, was elevated to the bench. As a gregarious person, he missed the freedom of being at the bar and yet found judgeship to be extremely fulfilling. For him, work was worship, and he gave it his unequivocal commitment. In May 2016, he was appointed as acting Chief Justice of the High Court of Allahabad. After 15 years on the bench, he retired from his office on June 2017. The extent of his popularity with the bar and the bench can be gathered from the fact that when he demitted office, he was given a standing ovation. His journey as a judge was appreciated by the bar for his demeanor, his erudition, clarity of thought, as reflected in his judgments, and his relationship with both the bar and the bench. Some of his landmark judgments are a testament to his commitment to the cause of justice, holding the state accountable and contributing significantly to criminal and constitutional law jurisprudence. One such judgment was in the case of he highlighted that criminal justice mandates fair and proper investigation to uncover the truth, warning that unsolved crimes and wrongful convictions tarnish the image of the judicial system, creating an impression that one can get away with crime. He remarked, and I quote, "Criminal justice is dependent on the agencies of government charged with enforcing law, adjudicating crime, and correcting criminal conduct. Unsolved crimes, unsuccessful prosecutions, unpunished offenders, and wrongful convictions bring our criminal justice system into disrepute. Truth will be a casualty if, due to external pressure, a guilty person gets away from the clutches of the law." Then there are several other judgments, Gajraj and others versus State of UP, the Emerald Court, Owner-Resident Welfare Association, the famous case in which Justice Shukla, along with Justice Sunit Kumar, directed the Noida Authority to demolish towers 16 and 17. In the Emerald Court project of Supertech Limited for violating building norms, the bench also directed real estate firms Supertech to bear the expenses of the demolition and removal of the debris. The bench wrote, and I quote, "The failure of the state apparatus to take prompt action to demolish such illegal constructions has convinced the citizens that planning laws are enforced only against the poor, and all compromises are made by the state machinery, including the Development Authority, when it is required to deal with those who have money power or an unholy nexus to the power corridors." This landmark judgment was affirmed by this Honorable Court in 2021. In the contempt matter of Court versus Sadhana that demanded the attention of the full bench, Justice Shukla, along with his brother judges, laid down the parameters within which lawyers must conduct themselves. And I quote, "A person who chooses his vocation is not one who has been tossed into this world to be part of a sport fortune. One is supposed to train oneself as a professional. A profession obliges service to the institution and service to the litigant whose interest is supreme to receive justice through the rule of law." Furthermore, he added, and I quote, "The eloquence in speech of a lawyer should be direct and brilliant, but eminently self-controlled and circumscribed by law." As he walked along the corridors of this court, we always found him smiling without a frown on his face, which I believe was also absent when he served as a judge. He would always come up to me and appreciate what I stood for, and was delighted to learn that I had decided to contest the post of President of the Bar. In the 7 years of practice in this court, he argued several cases, civil, service, constitutional law, and was appointed as special counsel for the state of Uttar Pradesh to appear for the state. He also was an arbitrator in several high-stake commercial matters, but arbitration was not the love of his life. It was the bustle of the court that was his preferred destination. Those who worked with him remember him fondly, ever smiling, always lightening the mood. He never raised his voice. He was generous at heart, always finding time to interact with younger members of the bar. He would often be seen in court engaging in long conversations with younger colleagues about the practice of law. Among the most pleasant seniors to brief, he left a lasting impression on all he knew. His hobbies, including traveling and photography, apart from our national pastime, cricket. Of the times he spent with his family, I believe he took his family on holidays while in practice, but judicial work was an impediment when he was on the bench. It is difficult to adjust after having served on the bench for many years and have spent a lifetime at the bar to adapt to another routine. Life is not just the same. The camaraderie and interactions with brothers and sisters on the bench and a lifetime of practice at the bar makes us miss this institution, no matter where we are. Life outside this institution is never the same. On the bench, the institution, in upholding the law, fulfills its commitment to the cause of justice. With those who practice at the bar, we are constantly fighting for the cause of justice. Central to our lives is our constant endeavor to seek and uphold justice. That, in every sense, is the leitmotif of our republic. When great souls depart, a void is left behind. We should cherish their efforts in contributing to the forward march of our nation. After 43 years of tirelessly contributing to the cause of law and justice, Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla left us far too early at the age of 69. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Poonam Shukla, daughter Parul Shukla, son Prashant Shukla, younger brother Ramesh Shukla, younger sister Shashi Pandey, son-in-law Upadhyaya Dita Banerjee, and daughter-in-law Anshika Pandey. May his soul rest in peace.
My esteemed colleagues, Mr. Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India, Mr. Kapil Sibal, President of the Supreme Court Bar Association, Mr. Vikrant Yadav, Vice President, Secretary, Ms. Rashna Shrivastava, Vice President and Office Bearers of SCORA, Mr. Sharma, distinguished members of the bar, law officers, Solicitor General, the dear family and friends of Shri Chandrakant Bhandare and Shri Vimlesh Kumar Shukla. Today we gather to honor the lives and legacies of two notable individuals whose deep understanding of the law, unwavering dedication to the legal profession, and commitment to improving the lives of others have enriched the legal community and our nation. Shri Chandrakant Bhandare, Babu, as he was called in his early childhood, grew up in the carefree embrace of Hindu colony in Dadar, Mumbai. Murli, as he was to his friends, embarked on his journey into public life early as an active student leader in the National Union of Students. At a time when public interest litigation was not the go-to option for every citizen, Murli collaborated with the residents of Usarni village to construct a 3-mile stretch of road. Perhaps the trajectory of his life can best be described in the title of that wonderful anthology, A Life in Our Times by John Kenneth Galbraith. Pursuing his studies in law at the preeminent institution of the time, Government Law College, Murli Bhandare was a contemporary of exemplars of his generation, Ashok Desai, Anil Diwan, Soli Sorabji, and Fali Nariman, among others. He began his legal career as a labor lawyer, advocating tirelessly for the rights of marginalized sections of our society. His father-in-law, H.R. Gokhale, who had moved from Baroda to Mumbai, had strong roots in the labor movement. Murli moved to Delhi with his wife Sunanda to practice at the Supreme Court. He appeared in landmark cases in the one-man commission which was appointed by the Union government to probe into the death of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyaya. Murli was affable to the core. He was a friend to his colleagues and a mentor to his juniors. The recognition which the bar of the Supreme Court accorded to him was reflected in his serving as president of the Supreme Court Bar Association for 2 consecutive terms in the 1980s. As a prominent member of the Indian National Congress, Shri Bhandare was elected to the Rajya Sabha and was a member of the upper house from 1980 to 1994. During his term, he served in parliamentary committees. A humanitarian at heart, he resolutely pursued the advancement of human rights and raised his voice in defense of the rights of the scheduled castes and manual scavengers in Parliament. He represented India at international fora. In 1993, he delivered an address to the United Nations General Assembly, advocating for stringent global human rights protections. From 1984 to 1989, he served on the UN Subcommission for Prevention of Discrimination and Protection of Minorities, combating discrimination and safeguarding vulnerable communities. He served as chairperson to the UNESCO Appeals Board from 1991 to 2003. In 2007, Shri Bhandare was appointed as the Governor of Odisha. His active engagement with citizens was marked by frequent field visits to local communities and earned him the title of the People's Governor. In the traditions of the legal community, he ensured that he continued to serve future generations. He edited 2 books, The World of Gender Justice and Struggle for Gender Justice, which address critical legal issues faced by women. His extraordinary energy did not diminish with age. In January this year, well into his 90s, he released his autobiography, The Arc of Memory, My Life and Times. The book captures his journey from student activist to senior advocate, parliamentarian, and governor. It eloquently outlines the colorful personalities, including the foibles within the institutions that Shri Bhandare was a part of, not to mention the various strategies they deployed in and out of court. Fali Neriman embellished the book with a foreword capturing not just Murli's achievements, but his loving personality as well. Murli was, above all else, a doting husband to his spouse, Sunanda. Sunanda had made a mark as a lawyer in the Supreme Court at an early age, overcoming the patriarchal structure of the legal profession. Sunanda was appointed as a judge of the Delhi High Court when she was barely 43 years old and was, by all anecdotal accounts, regarded as a likely first woman to hold the highest judicial office in the country. But fate willed otherwise, as she lost a battle to cancer on 10th November 1994. Murli and Sunanda were lovers of art and music. A concert of Shubha Mudgal was a feature of their musical stories. Despite the chuckle in his eye and the characteristic smile, Murli had the ability to stand for what was right. A strike by lawyers was an anathema to him. He resisted a human barrier put up on the corridors of the Supreme Court in the 1990s, even at the cost of a dislocated shoulder. In memory of his beloved wife, Murli Bhandare founded the Justice Sunanda Bhandare Foundation, which promotes legal literacy and gender justice. This foundation embodies his belief that empowering women is essential for empowering humanity. Beyond the spheres of law and politics, he held the twin passions of music and golf, which he continued to enjoy till his last days. A consummate golfer, Murli was a regular on the greens at Delhi Golf Club. V.M. Tarkunde, S.C. Manchanda, and Murli formed a golfing threesome, each with their distinct personality. They were but unlikely companions. Tarkunde was a resolute radical humanist dedicated to M.N. Roy. In the arid pages of tax law, Murli was relaxed and full of humor, unfailing in his ability to share a golfing pun. From the courts of law to the course at Zakir Hussain Magh was an easy migration several times each week. Shri Bhandare left for the quiet environments of the Eternal on June 15, 2024. He is survived by his son, Rahul Bhandare, daughter-in-law and journalist Namita Bhandare, his daughter Manali Singhal, who is an advocate, his granddaughters, Advocate Shreya Singhal, art advisor Teesta Bhandare, and wellness promoter Ananya Bhandare, and his grandson-in-law, Jahan. Shreya had done Murli proud by the great cause and free speech which she pursued, culminating in the judgment of our court. Murlidhar Chandrakant Bhandare was a distinguished parliamentarian, eminent lawyer, and champion of human rights. His legacy will continue to inspire generations to strive for justice and equality in our nation. The president of the Supreme Court Bar Association referred to the time when I represented Murli when his residential status was called into question to challenge his appointment and election to the Rajya Sabha. We both went to the hearing in Mantralaya, Mumbai, in one of those famed Kala Pila taxis. And as I was arguing before the authority was busy answering a telephone call. Murli raised his two hands. And what remains with me as an abiding memory was the three words which he uttered. He said, Aika, 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 which means in Marathi, please listen to the argument on my behalf. Justice Vimlesh Kumar Shukla was the quintessential product of Allahabad, now Prayagraj. His father, Pandit Mukund Khan Shukla, was a seasoned lawyer at the District and Sessions Court. Vimlesh Bhai, as he was to us, attended St. Joseph's College and CMP Degree College. He later secured a Bachelor of Arts degree from Allahabad University in 1977, where he stayed on to complete his LLB in 1980. In 1981, Vimlesh Shukla began his legal career by enrolling with the Uttar Pradesh Bar Council. His career at the Allahabad Bar spanned 2 decades, where his practice focused on civil and constitutional law at the High Court. He built up a notable expertise in service law. His commitment to fellow lawyers and leadership abilities were demonstrated by his election as Secretary Bar Association of the High Court of Allahabad in 1998. Justice Shukla's talent, industry, and dedication to the law resulted in his being called to the bench. On 21st December 2002, he was elevated as a permanent judge of the High Court of Allahabad. During my tenure as the Chief Justice of the Allahabad High Court, he was a steadfast colleague and a dear friend. I can only narrate one instance. The Allahabad High Court was celebrating its 150th anniversary of establishment. We had put up a pandal where about 2,500 lawyers would be accommodated. On the day before the event, and the event was to be presided over by the President of India, we learned that there was unrest in the bar because we couldn't accommodate more than 2,500. Not to be unfazed, Vimlesh walked up to me and said, "We will hold the fort and make sure that the function is a success." So Vimlesh trooped into the Bishop Johnson School, organized the grounds of the school to accommodate the remaining members of the bar, and even threw in some fruit juice and snacks for the lawyers to keep them in good humor on the next day. He had the ability to handle sometimes very contested meetings of the Administrative Committee of the Allahabad High Court with aplomb and grace. Above all, he had this unique ability to say G in the most difficult of situations to dissipate the tension in the Administrative Committee. I passed on the reins to him following my elevation to this court. Vimlesh Bhai had an innate knowledge of the bar and bench at Allahabad. He used that ability to retrieve the court from difficult situations. He was the first to volunteer a solution in an impasse. His jovial personality and the smile marked him out, but he did not conceal a strength of convictions to stand by what he believed was right. On 13 May 2016, Justice Shukla assumed the role of Acting Chief Justice of the High Court of Judicature, Allahabad. His 15 years on the bench saw him deliver several notable decisions. For example, in Shahid Anjum versus State of UP, displaying his deep understanding of service law, he held that an OBC candidate who is selected as a lecturer in the general category can claim as a matter of right the institutional preference submitted as a reserved category candidate. After 1.5 decades of public service, he retired on 2 June 2017. But he was not yet done with the law. He continued his passion for the profession by beginning practice at the Supreme Court, where he was designated as a senior advocate. During his time as a part of this court's esteemed bar, Justice Shukla contributed to the development of civil, constitutional, and service law. He also served as special counsel for the state of Uttar Pradesh, representing his home state before the Supreme Court. His command of the law was on full display as he argued notable cases, such as the seminal land acquisition dispute in New Okla Industrial Development Authority versus Harnan Singh. Outside the courtroom, Justice Shukla was an avid traveler and a passionate photographer. He meticulously planned his trips to explore new places to the fullest. His love for storytelling and penchant for amusing anecdotes made him a beloved figure amongst the younger members of the bar. Justice Shukla passed away on 29 June 2024, all too suddenly. I was deeply shocked to learn from our common friends, Justice Arun Tandon, former judge of the Allahabad High Court, and Justice A.P. Shahi, now the president of the NCDRC, that he had suffered a stroke soon after arguing a case and having gone home. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Poonam Shukla, his daughter, Parul Shukla, who practices in the Supreme Court, his son, Prashant Shukla, who practices at the Allahabad High Court, his younger brother, Ramesh, also practicing at the Allahabad High Court, and his younger sister, Shashi Pandey, who is a retired teacher. They have our heartfelt condolences, and we join them in commemorating a life well lived. Shri Bhandare and Shri Shukla represent two careers steeped in public service, which sought to improve the lives of all Indians. Their unwavering passion for the law, their defense of the underprivileged, and their commitment to the legal community has left an enduring legacy. Their influence will remain in cases they argued, decisions they authored, and most importantly, in the hearts of all who had the privilege of knowing them. As we bid them farewell, let us cherish the memories of their remarkable lives. And we all rise to observe 2 minutes silence in the memory of the departed souls.